Hey guys, today we are still doing parallel lines cut by transversals. So we have the same learning target, we are just kind of making these problems a little more difficult. So this is a great example of problems you'll see. You can tell by these little arrows that these two lines are parallel, and then by the double arrows that these lines are parallel. So we can say that S is parallel to T, and L is parallel to M. So those are just the names of our lines here. Alright, so the first thing I want to do, especially in a picture like this, is label my A's and B's. So we label A, B, and then we switch B, A. So each of my four little sets of angles here I need to label with A's and B's. Alright, now that I have that figured out, I can read my question. So it says, if the measure of angle 1 is 4x plus 35, and angle 8 is 7x minus 40, what is the value of x? And then it asks me, what is the measure of angle 1? So this is a two-part question. First, we need to find x. So angles 1 and angle 8, I'm going to circle those over here. So angle 1 and angle 8. Well, I can see that I labeled both of those with an A. So A and A are going to be equal. So I have 4x plus 35 equals 7x minus 40. So now I just solve it for x. Remember, when you move things to the other side of the equal sign, you do the opposite operation. So I end up with 75 equals 3x. And when I divide by 3, I get 25 equals x. So this is part of my answer. But is the measure of angle 1 equal to 25? I hope you said no. So the measure of angle 1, my problem tells me, is 4x plus 35. Well, now that I have x, all I need to do is plug that in. So the measure of angle 1 is going to be equal to 4 times 25 plus 35. So 4 times 25 gives me 100 plus 35 equals 135 degrees. If I look at my picture, I can tell that that's going to be an obtuse angle. So this makes sense to be my answer. Alright, I will let you try numbers 2 and 3. So one of them is going to ask for x, the other asks for an angle. I want you guys to look at this next problem right now. Alright, it says find the measures of all the numbered angles in the figure below. Well, this looks really kind of awful. Got two sets of parallel lines, I can see by these arrows, so I'm going to go ahead and use some color here. So this green and this green are parallel. And then I've got these arrows here indicating that these pink lines are parallel. So in problems like this, you have to be careful because there are multiple transversals. We've got this line right here that's not parallel to anything, but it is a transversal. So when I label my A's and B's, you might have to do two sets of A's and B's. So first, if I look at these pink parallel lines, I'm going to label A's and B's around here. And then on my next line, this is where it gets tricky. So I have this little angle is 22. I don't know what this angle is, but this entire angle here is going to be an A. So I need to be careful about that. Alright, so let's go ahead and try filling in some of these. So, angle 1, where is angle 1? It's right here, it's a B. Well, it looks like I've got, this is 78 degrees. So if this A is 78 and this is a B, then I can do 180 minus 78, and I get 102 degrees. So that's going to be angle 1 right there. That also helps me with angle 7 here because this is a B, this is a B. So those are equal and they're both supplementary to that A. So number 7 is also going to be 102 degrees. So now is when we need to look at this picture from another angle. I've got these two green lines here. Those are parallel. Now I'm going to look at this pink one as the transversal. Since I found that A up here is 78 degrees, this is the same transversal, so this A is going to be equal to this A. So angle 2 is going to be 78 degrees. Which means that angle 3, my B right here, is going to be the same as my B's up here, as long as I'm on the same transversal. So that means it is 102 degrees. Alright, angle number 4 is up here. So if I look at these pink parallel lines again, and I use this top one as my transversal, the same idea we just did, since these angles were figured out, if this is our transversal and these are our parallel lines, then these A's and B's are going to be the same as these A's and B's. So angle 4 here is an A, and we figured out A is 78 degrees. Alright, let's take a look at angle 6 first before we do angle 5. So angle 6 is down here. I can use my green lines as parallel and this pink transversal. So I have that 6 here as an A. Well, we just figured out that my A up here was 78 degrees. So angle 6 is also going to be 78 degrees. This last one that gets really tricky is angle 5 because it's over here kind of on its own. I'm not quite sure what that is. So if we take a look at it, since it's its own transversal, I need to label new A's and B's because I'm using these green parallel lines. So it might help you see the picture if you extend this transversal to be a longer line. And now label A, B, B, A. And then A, B, B, A. So my 5 here is a B, and I have my B over here. So again, we're using these green as the parallel, and this is my transversal. So my B is actually this little angle right here, which it's telling me is 22 degrees. So angle 5 is going to be 22 degrees. So this is kind of an extreme picture of what you might see, but it is good practice for picking apart 2 parallel lines and 1 transversal. So sometimes you're going to have to be careful about what your transversal is. Along the same lines, I want to look at just one problem on the back, and we will be done. So let's look at this one first. It's probably the hardest of them. Using this diagram, which lines are parallel? So I have all these different lines here, but I don't know which ones are parallel. The first thing I want to do is label those A's and B's. So I've got lots of A's and B's to label here in this picture. Make sure you label all of them. Alright, so now I see that 108 is a B. And this 108 is also a B. And then I have 72 over here as an A. So my B and my B are supposed to be equal, which they are, so that's a good thing. So I need to check, though, if these are my parallel lines, these angles are not on the same transversal. They're on 2 different transversals. So actually, M and N cannot be parallel here. But now if I look at my A, I know that an A and a B should equal 180. Well, if I check the math over here, 72 plus 108 does equal 180, so that works. Let me see if I have the lines I need. If I look at this line, I have 108 and 72. Well, if they're on the same line, I'm going to need to use that as the transversal. because I need one angle on each of the parallel lines and both of them on the transversal. So if I have M and P as my parallel lines, then this is my transversal. So I can write that M is parallel to P. If I look at this 108 and this 72, they're on these two lines, but again, they don't share a transversal. Or if we consider them on these lines, they're not on the same transversal. So those examples do not prove that any of the lines are parallel except for these two. So this is kind of the backwards way of asking the question we did on the front. All right, we will finish this up in class. Thanks for watching.